Ladies and gentlemen, am I ever proud to say that Petr Mrazek is a Detroit Red Wing, baby. Oh my gosh, I am feeling like a fool because yesterday I went out there and picked up Pavel Dorofeyev in some of my fantasy leagues. You know how I went on that rant yesterday about Boone Jenner going -4 and costing my multiple fantasy teams a bunch of fantasy points? Well, I dropped him for Dorofeyev, thinking that the Vegas Golden Knights were going to have a ball. I already have Hertl and Eichel on a bunch of my teams. And unfortunately, it was not a great choice because they all ended up getting shut out. That's right, baby. The Detroit Red Wings and Petr Mrazek have just shut out the Vegas Golden Knights in a dominating 3-0 win at home. Sorry Hertl, sorry Eichel, sorry Dorofeyev, sorry Barbashev, but VGK was not able to get a single puck past Petr Mrazek. And look, I know for us Red Wings fans, it's easy to get excited after a win like that. Albert Johansson scored a beautiful goal. Raymond went out there, finally got back on the board himself. 3-0 shutout victories are always fun for the team that wins. But if you're on team playoffs for the Detroit Red Wings, this win, it definitely helps, but the Wings are still quite a ways away from making the dance. They are 2 points out of a playoff spot with no games in hand. And Columbus and Montreal are still on top of them, so it's going to be a hard-fought trek if the Red Wings do make the playoffs this season. And at the same time, we also have to acknowledge that for the Vegas Golden Knights' sake, they did play yesterday in a barn burner against the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know if y'all caught that game, but Buffalo was down 3-2 at the end of the third period, and eventually Tomas Hertl had an empty net. Instead of scoring it himself, he passed it over to Eichel, trying to get Eichel that goal in Buffalo. Turnover the other way, Buffalo gets control, and then Rasmus Dahlin scored with 14 seconds left in the third period, and the Sabres won in a shootout. So Vegas absolutely choked yesterday against Buffalo. They were already tired heading into this game against Detroit. You could definitely see it. It was almost like they were skating in quicksand by the end of the game, and by the time it was 2-3-0, you can tell that the Red Wings just kind of controlled the rest of the play and didn't allow Vegas to get back into it. But ultimately, Detroit outshoots Vegas in this one 27-18. Lots more offensive pressure and effort on the Detroit side versus the Vegas side. Not surprising considering Vegas's circumstances in this game. And when you talk about the goals that were scored, I mean, you can't go out there and ignore what Albert Johansson was able to do to get things going in the second period. It's Tarasenko and Compher, each with their 18th and 19th assists on the year, who end up starting to play for Detroit in the offensive zone. Compher, a really nice pass down the boards to Tarasenko in the half wall. He centers it out for Johansson, who outweights the Vegas goaltender Ilya Samsonov, cuts in, goes to the backhand, reverses the puck, and then goes short side post and in. It's a beautiful goal for Albert Johansson's second on the year. You're not going to get much prettier than that. That was one of the best goals I think we have seen from a defenseman in a Detroit Red Wings sweater this season. Beautiful. Mwah. Chef's kiss from Albert Johansson there. In the third period, Lucas Raymond finally gets back out there on the board. It's his first goal in what feels like forever, and Elmer Soderblom gets the assist over here too. It's kind of a scrambly play a little bit. I mean, Raymond gets the pass, really nice, but then he cuts in towards the goal, has to fight off the sticks of two Vegas guys before coming out in front of Samsonov and firing it low glove side. He makes it 2-0 for Detroit in the third, and that momentum is what allowed Detroit to just carry into the sunset with the victory here. Marco Kasper then gets a really nice tip out in front to make it 3-0, and look, we know Kasper has had such a great impact in a Detroit sweater this year, and on this play, it kind of exemplifies that. Kane goes over to Gustafsson, Gustafsson shoots it towards the goal, and Kasper is right there on the back door to put it right by Ilya Samsonov. No chance there for the goaltender. It's just one of those tough angles that you can't really go out there and stop unless you have clairvoyance. You know the puck is going to go exactly to that spot. But either way, Detroit hangs on. Petr Mrazek makes all 18 saves that he needs to make and walks away with a shutout victory. And here's the thing that I think we need to think about with Detroit. Because things definitely have not been good in Red Wings Nation the past few weeks here, all the losses piling up and the team just not really gelling as much as they had in prior games. Obviously, the Patrick Kane 5-point night stands out, but other than that, this was one of the best games I think Wings fans could have been watching the past few weeks. Never mind the crazy point production in that Buffalo game, but just from a team standpoint, the confidence, the execution, the control. Sure, it took a tired Vegas team that went to overtime and a shootout yesterday to turn into the prey of today's Red Wings feast. But with games like these, you start to realize, hey, this team does have what it takes to go out there and make things interesting. They have a whole bunch of talent. And when they shut things down, when they have that mojo, when they're feeling themselves up, they can shut down the best team in the Pacific Division. They can shut out a former Vegas Golden Knights championship squad. And they did so looking like the better team. Heading over to the Money Puck Deserve to Win-O-Meter, it says here that the Wings had a 78% chance of winning this hockey game. Now, a lot of that happened to do with the fact that the Wings had so many expected goals at the start of the second period, but that just goes to show you the control. Marco Kasper had more expected goals in this game than the whole Vegas Golden Knights team combined. Justin Hall had a 90-something percentile expected goals percentage. Sure, you can say that the Larkin line was kind of getting hemmed in at times, but for the most part, the depth in Detroit was coming out to play, and they made do with all the ice time they got. Now, when it comes to that ice time, Albert Johansson was the second most utilized player on the team today. Him and Edvinsson had more minutes than Seider and Shutout. And you wonder why Wings fans were getting all excited about Albert Johansson in the Swedish Hockey League. Not only did Simon Edvinsson come out on this team and show that he can be a reliable top 4 D-man, but Albert Johansson is doing the same thing. And that guy's not a top 10 talent like the other guys were. So, overall, this was one of the most complete and statement-making games that the Red Wings could have had against the Vegas Golden Knights squad that was vulnerable, that was already on their last legs after the game yesterday against Buffalo. I think this game isn't really going to be too impactful or important from the Vegas point of view. I don't think any Vegas fan is going to be like, oh yeah, the sky's falling, we lost to Detroit. Like, they all kind of recognize what happened here and the context surrounding it. But for Red Wings fans who have been disappointed in the way this team has handled that playoff push the past few weeks, they needed a game like this. Not only just to get the 2 points and the win, but to dominate, to show that they belong, and for Petr Mrazek to get that confidence in him one more time. Go get that shutout, baby. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Detroit Red Wings going out there and stomping on the Vegas Golden Knights. What stood out to you, and what do you think is going to carry over into the next few games here as that wildcard push really heats up? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.